Oh my God, my family is here. Isn't that sweet? I'm Mary Rowe and I work at MAS, and we've just had a fabulous day here for the 5th annual MAS Summit for New York City. How many of you actually have that stamina and we're here all day? Put up your hands if you were here. All right, so let's hear it for the ones with tenacity and strong bladders and strong constitution. This is just going to be a great finale to day one. We're so happy to be able to host again the Jane Jacobs Forum, which we have co-produced for a number of years with the Rockefeller Foundation, and we appreciate their support. It has in the past been in conjunction with the Jane Jacobs Medal. The medal took a hiatus this year, but we carried on with the forum because there are just so many important ideas around the work of Jane Jacobs that New Yorkers embody and reflect all the time. And so we didn't want to miss an opportunity to highlight that and share it with you and get an opportunity to be able to celebrate once again this extraordinary contribution that Jane Jacobs made and continues to make through her work. Now, here's a question for you. How many of you were born after 1961? If you were, look at that. Okay, yes. If you do you need me to rephrase it for you? Can you do the math? Were you born when were you born?
72.
You were born in 72. Yes, you qualify. So because I'm the only one that can see everybody, what you need to know is that 90% of this house was born after 1961, which is extraordinary because that means that you were born after Jane Jacobs wrote her first book, The Death and Life of Great American Cities, and here you are. So what a wonderful tribute to her legacy and to the important potency of her ideas and the longevity of these ideas. When I was standing out in the side here, just prepping, deciding if I would say anything substantive, I thought, well, I'll just Google ingenuity and Jane Jacobs. And what came up was the New York Times book review of her book, The Death and Life of Great American Cities, in 1961, which I have tweeted. So if you go and follow me now, ROWEMW, because I'm dyslexic, Rowe MW, you'll see that fabulous review of The Death and Life of Great American Cities. And what you will be struck by is all the things that reviewer highlights of the points that Jacobs made in that book are true today, in terms of the way that we really understand, and we need to understand, how cities actually function, and why it's important that those of us that are engaged in city building continue to actually pay attention to what is going on in a city and observing carefully what actually happens in cities and neighborhoods. That's one of her great legacies. She has there are many scholars working on the Jacobs canon, so we encourage you, those of you born after 1961, even in the 70s, to always leave the Jane Jacobs Forum and do some Googling on your own, get some of her books, read The Death and Life of Great American Cities. This afternoon, one of our panelists, who I'm sure was born after 1961, I bet she was born in the 90s, he quoted the economy of cities and some of the important things that she proposed then. So, just to say, this is a wonderful gathering, and for new people to be being exposed to her ideas is really what the forum is about. Now, interestingly, if you can't join us at the MAS Summit tomorrow, I want you to go online and watch it. You can sit at your desk and do it. Lots of people do. And you can live stream. Yes, you don't tell your employer, but you just keep it in the background. And you can live stream, or you can come back and be with us. And you'll hear more Jacobsian ideas being discussed around how the city functions, how important the city is really to the evolution of how we live together. And we're starting in the morning with a session on human rights. And we're going to just carry on from there to talk about all the important ways in which the physical city and the spatial city affects how we do things, how we function, how we economically thrive. And that's what Jacobs was about as well, is that cities are about people and ingenuity and all the kinds of things that happen when you combine people in place. In fact, she might have said that there's a kind of combustion that occurs when you actually combine people in place. So I'm thrilled that the MAS Urbanists, who have put this thing on, chose this notion of projects that ignite. That's exactly the right concept of the kind of potency that we can create together through the benefits of density and the congregation that occurs when you actually choose to live in a city, as almost, I'm assuming, all of us have chosen to do. So we have a fabulous panel. We have fabulous ideas. You look fabulous, all of you young people born after 1961. And to start us off, we've got a great urbanist and an author, Greg Lindsay, who's going to come out and speak to you a little bit about how he sees the Jacobs contribution affecting his work. He's had one book already out called Airtropolis. You should read it. It's a very important book that he wrote when he was very young. I'm sure I haven't asked him when he was born. He might be a little older than you, Colin. I'm not sure. But he has another book that he's working on now about a really important quality in cities, which we're going to talk about tomorrow, and which Jacobs touched on, serendipity, and how important cities are to that. So thank you for serendipitously joining us. Welcome to the Jane Jacobs Forum. Thank you very much to the Rockefeller Foundation. Would you welcome, please, Greg Lindsay. Thanks. Have fun.